We're going to calculate the weight, we're going to guess the weight, and then we're going to weigh them for real. What I want to do in the video, because you're going to want to play along, you need a pen and a paper, numbers 1 through 18. I'll give you a slow pan over and give you a second to write down your guesses of the weight of these logs 1 through 18 and see how you stacked up against Spruce Stomper and the Have you ever been curious how to estimate the weight of a log? I have. So let's use my inventory pile and we'll learn it together. So why would a guy need to be able to estimate the weight of the logs that he's gonna haul? Well, you might find yourself in a scenario like I was in a couple weeks ago. If you haven't seen the video, loading logs the old-fashioned way. Great opportunity, great big pile of logs, but only so much trailer to haul them. So friends, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take you through the setup we have. We have a few tools and a little bit of equipment and a little bit of math that is gonna allow us to go through this row. I have 18 different logs. They're all in the previous video, loading logs the old-fashioned way. It's every single one that I brought home that day to see what the true payload was that we brought home on that trailer. Was it overloaded? We're gonna find out. So friends, what we have here, item number 1, the logs themselves, of course. They've been cut for roughly a month, still very green. Spruce trees, very common in Western Canada. We have various diameters. So these are the ones we're gonna be weighing up, the same ones from the load I hauled home. Chainsaw on standby, and then this is gonna be the real key. This is our only piece of specialty equipment we purchased for the channel here. This is rated to go up to 1,000 pounds. Now, we did test it. I took a bunch of items that I knew the exact weight of, weighed them, and I'm telling you, more than close enough. We're not weighing for legal tender or trade here. So we have chains, we have our scale, we have our logs, we have our Kubota. But before we get to weighing, what I'm gonna do is explain what we're gonna do with this test block. Now, the type of wood value is based off of a cubic foot of wood of that species, but they're broken down into very nice charts based on the diameter of the log and the species. So the chart I have starts at 12 inches. I think it goes all the way up to 36-inch diameter tree, and it gives you a weight per foot of that species based on the diameter of tree. They listed Sitka spruce and red spruce, which is not this specific species, pretty close. So what we're gonna do is for our first measurement, we're gonna trim this test block, which came out of one of these, down to 12 inches. We're gonna weigh it, measure its diameter, and compare it to the chart to see exactly what species on that chart is close enough for us to use for our little experimentation to make that formula work. So, suit mix fired up, chopper down to 12 inches. Close enough for this experiment. Okay, now that we've got our 12 inches, what we're gonna do is we'll flip it up and then we'll measure the diameter. We got no flare here, 14. So 14-inch diameter, 12-inch block. Now we can compare to the chart and look at the spruce species that were on the chart, weight by foot at a 14-inch diameter, and see where this rings in. And then we'll know if we can trust the chart in future and you know, make mental notes, see what this weighs. You can see I've already got my chain hanging on the hook. Scale has been zeroed out, so we should be able to go ahead and place our test block on, see the weight, take the block off, ensure that it goes back to 0 with the chain on it, and we know it, well, something worked. I switched over to some safety shoes too. It's hot out. Bang on the money. All right, let's pull up the chart, consult, and see what species we should be using for the random chart that I pulled off the internet. Gotta have pocket reference in the field, you know? Not cell service everywhere you're out scavenging trees. Okay, now that the weighing's done of our test block, got the chart pulled up, couldn't find the exact chart that had the white spruce species on it. Not that it's necessary, that was the point of the test block. So what we've come down to, red spruce species comes in at 36 pounds a foot for 14-inch diameter. We were at 34.3. So as an average, they're identical. So we're gonna go with red spruce off the chart and use it to apply to our formula to calculate the estimated weight of these logs before we go ahead and exercise the old Amazon weigh scale and see what they actually weigh. So what's going to happen is, of course, trees taper. So one end is going to be smaller than the other end, so we want to find the average. So in this case, 17 inches on the butt and only 14 inches on the front. So what you can do to find the average is you take the two numbers, 17 plus 14 is 31, and then you divide it by the number of values that you have in the equation. So in this case, we only have two ends of the log, so we're going to divide that number by 2. 31 divided by 2, 15 and a half. Of course, there isn't 15 and a half on the chart because it goes in 2-inch increments, so we're going to just round up to 16. So you can see why this is an estimated weight, but that's how you can get the average out of the taper. You add the values together and divide by the number of values that you're trying to find the average of, and it works for an infinite number of whatever you're trying to figure out. If you have 50 numbers, you can add them all together and divide it by 50, and it'll give you the average of those values. So we're going to go with 16. Okay, so now that we've got all the fussing done with getting our test block measured, knowing which item off the chart we can use, red spruce at 36 pounds a foot based on that diameter, I'll introduce you to the scorekeeper. So we're gonna do calculated weight based on the formula from Cheryl Tree. We're just going to use their online calculator. They give you the text version there as well. So go ahead and use that, I guess, if you want to figure this out manually in the field. But for the sake of this, we're going to use the formula calculation. Then we're going to use a chart, pounds per foot, based on the red spruce and the diameter. So we'll just simply take the pounds that it gives us for that diameter of tree and times it by our 8.5 length, and that'll give us this value. So we'll see how close those come, my guess, and then the actual weight of the tree. So I think that'll be fun. For field reference, you're basically just going to look up the weight of the tree based on diameter, and you know, maybe just take a snapshot of that chart with you. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, so the calculator is coming in at 439 pounds, and the chart pounds per foot at a 16-inch diameter, 47 pounds a foot, 47 times 8.5, 400 pounds. The variance is the diameter is based on an average, and the formula that they use to calculate is based on a wood value. My understanding of wood value is based on the moisture content, the species and average density of the tree, and a whole bunch of other stuff I didn't really understand, and they assign it a number. In our case, we're using 37. So we're out by 39 pounds. What do I think it weighs? See, I should have made my guess first. I won't cheat on the next ones. I'll guess first on the next ones, but now I'm kind of being swayed because I already made it in the chart. Well, I rolled this by hand. Well, I think it's heavier. I think it's heavier with all those knots. I'm going final answer. I'm going, what do you guys think? Did I overshoot? I don't know. Let's tractor it. We'll find out. Got her zeroed out. Suspended. Totally off the ground. What are we reading? What is she settled in on? Jumping around a hair, 523 pounds. At 523 pounds, the Amazon scale is jumping around a tiny bit, plus or minus half a pound. 523 pounds. How did we do? They were out, that was out, I was out. She's way heavier. All right, just to double check, chain fully suspended off the scale. We're back at 0. I mean, on a 500-pound log, you'd hate to be out that 15 pounds worth of chain, right? We're running a tight ship here. All right, I don't want to be called out for rigging the deal. So I'm gonna go through, I'm gonna guess the weights of the remaining 17 logs, write them on the chart, which is blank. Then I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna figure out the rest, and then we'll do the actual weight. Because if I start figuring out psychologically, I'll be swayed.
I'm gonna say that this log weighs, we're going 325.
Locked in, final answer.
Log number 3, ooh, is this a little guy, eh? Just a little guy. 250, 225.
50, 225.
Look at this big old dog. Oh, are those similar? I'm going 540 on that one.
540. I got nothing to lose.
Next one over. Man, I feel like we're in the 5 range still. Look at these dang knots. Could it be heavier? It could be heavier, right?
Knots are dense. Spruce tree branches are dense, and that knot goes right in the tree, ladies and gents.
I'm gonna throw this one down at
575.
I think we're overshooting here now. This next one, ooh, much smaller diameter, similar to down there. I'm thinking this one's lighter. I'm going 315.
Oh, my average is probably plummeting. Are we wildly in your eye? Are you guessing along?
You must be guessing on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're on the 8th. 275.
275. Going once, going twice.
Sold at 275. Next one on the block. She's a lunker.
I know what I'm doing. We're going 615.
Let's double check where that was number 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're going 380.
380.
Now we're gonna cheat a little bit,
And by cheat, I mean a guesstimation.
This is actually a Douglas fir, so I'll look up in the chart and see if there's a value for Douglas fir, and we'll be fair because its density per foot is going to be a little bit different than this spruce, but not enough we're going to worry about it. What are we going on that baby? We're going 400. No, that doesn't seem right. It does seem right. 415. Oh, he's second guessing himself, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think he knows what he's doing, this guy. 415.
This is all psychological. If we would have done a small log, I think I would have exaggerated under, but now because we started with a log that I was like, oh, and there was no way it weighs 500 pounds, weighed 500 pounds, plus I'm overshooting.
This has to be heavier too. This has got to be at least what that one is, if not more.
We're gonna roll this one in at 590.
590, this little guy, oh, there ain't much here.
275.
It's a good thing we're not betting money on this. We're going 575, I think. I just got that feeling, 575. It could be the difference of 100 pounds on that. We're gonna go 480. Have I guessed 480? I don't see 480. That seems reasonable. Little guy, we got 2. Why do we only have 2? Did I mistake?
We're back in action. I gotta be transparent here. There's no cheating going on. I skipped one here, so 430, but you can see I carried the numbers over same. 590, 590, 275, 275, 575, 575, and then I bumped this 480 down. I'm feverish with excitement here. You know, I'm out here by myself doing this, but I really feel like I'm at a craps table trying to roll. What do they try to roll in the movies? Is 7? Is 7 good or bad? All I know about gambling is from television.
480, we got 2 left. We're going 260. We're going 260, folks. 260, and our last guess, don't even think about it, we're going 300 pounds. Nope, yep, it's too late, I already said it. I said it on camera, you have to write it down. You gotta be true to the people. So, there you go, 18 guesses. Of course, my first test run, I was out by 73 pounds. I mean, I don't know, I guess it depends what game you're playing. Is 73 pounds close enough? I guess we're gonna find out. But really what we're all interested in is the final tally, isn't it? I do just want to remind you as you're watching this video, just in case you're thinking, well, what if the chart's wrong? That is why we made the 12-inch test block that's sitting over there by the soup mix and the grass. We cut the 12-inch section of the 14-inch diameter to reference it against the chart that we were using. And what were we within? 1.7 pounds average. And I'm even erring on the high side. I'm using what's on the chart. So not what the block weighed. We're using the heavier value, and we're still coming out a little off. So interesting. Just keep that in mind though. We're not making this stuff up as we go. Well, yeah, you know what I mean. All right, folks, math done. Results are in. 208 from the formula, 230 by the foot. Folks, Spruce Stomper, he went fat on all his guesses. Right or wrong, we'll find out. What I want to do in the video, because you're going to want to play along. You need a pen and a paper, numbers 1 through 18. These are all 8.5 foot. There's a couple 8-footers. I'll point them out as we go. I'll give you a slow pan over and give you a second to write down your guesses of the weight of these logs 1 through 18 and see how you stacked up against Spruce Stomper and the online calculator and the weight per foot chart. See where you're at. Where's the knowledge level? So, number 1, we already know that one weighed 523 pounds. You might already guess. Number 2, that's an 8.5 footer. A little smaller on the diameter. For reference, that averaged out at 16-inch diameter. So, a little smaller. Here's another 8.5 footer. Get your pen in there. Get her done. That's an 8 foot. Don't get tripped up. 8 foot. So, we lost a bit on that one. That's an 8.5. That's an 8.5. I'll cheat you a little bit. That one averaged at 14-inch diameter. For reference as we go, that's an 8 foot. That's an 8 foot. This one averaged out, because it's got a big old flare on the butt, 16-inch diameter, 8.5 foot. They're big. This one too, it's only an 8 foot. But look at that. Don't leave that out of your guess. Don't underestimate the gnarliness at the end of that bugger. 8.5 footer. 8.5 footer. This one's a giant. Averaged out, we use 16 inches an average. 8.5. There's a little guy in between. 8.5 foot. 8.5 foot. And a little tiny guy on the end. This one averaged out at about 10-inch diameter and 12. So, there you go. Friends, if you're watching with anticipation and you're wondering how you're doing, log number 1, 2, 3, 4. If you made it to number 4 and you guessed anything north of 113 pounds, you're not doing so hot. That, way lighter than it looks. Chart was wrong. Calculator was wrong. This guy, not even close. Onward. $443 pounds. Oh man. Embarrassing. Beat those. I got too fat on that one. 443. It's deceiving though. Getting reset up this morning, ran out of daylight. So we have, I don't know, 10 or so left to go. All right, gentlemen, the results are in. I'm gonna just let this sit here for a sec in a few different fashions so you can have a good look and compare your answers to what I got. Remember, formula was based on the online calculator. They also have the actual math equation that you can punch in yourself. And then the chart, we just used the 36 pounds a foot as verified by our test block, my guesses, and the actual weight that we came up with. As you can see, I was more than generous. There's where we ended up. All right. Well, let's go over the results of our weighing experiment here. I'll tell you what, I am glad that my guesses were incorrect, because I'm pretty sure that the wheels would have just blown off the trailer. I was way over. I hope I held this still long enough for you to get a really good look here and compare on your notepad. I know you've been following along with, and write down what your guesses were. Let me know in the comments how close you got, because I was out by 1,803 pounds. I was over by 1,803 pounds. I think it's because we started out with such a big log, and I underestimated the weight by, by 73 pounds. I was under on the first log, so I thought, I'm gonna shoot for the moon. Actual weight came in 5,472 pounds, all logs total in. Now, why is this a good thing? Because my tandem axle trailer has a max payload capacity of, anybody want to guess? Go ahead, guess.
comment section again. This is a good spot. Or just write it down. Satisfying small victories in life. Ready? 5,126 pounds max payload. Well, I'll tell you what, you add in a few ratchet straps, a few things like that, we were a snicker over. 5,472 pounds of total cargo. We got our money's worth out of that trip. It's good to get a check in reality once in a while, to know that your gut reaction is usually the best reaction, because you go back, watch the video, loading logs the old-fashioned way, a nice yellow font thumbnail. I had maybe 4 or 5 logs that we left behind. I actually had several of them loaded on the trailer, and a couple big ones. So that easily would have put us well over probably 1,000 pounds overweight, which not so good. Too long of a trip on the gravel road for that kind of number. My guess, 7,275 pounds. Man, I'm so grateful I wasn't correct. Now this is where it gets interesting. Both the weight per foot, remember our test block, 36 pounds times the weight of the log based on the average diameter, referenced to our chart, CherylTree.com. I have no affiliation. I don't know anything about them. It just was the best chart and the easiest to read that I could find. 36 pounds a foot verified. So 4,670 pounds. So that, again, that is that's a substantial amount. Oh, that's 800 pounds under. So if you're out in the field and you're doing this, I think you should shoot for the side of caution. You know, if your trailer can haul 5,000 pounds, maybe don't shoot for 5,000 pounds. Maybe shoot for 4,500 pounds. So if you're going to be overloaded, it's just some. 4,970 pounds out of the formula based on the tree value. I'm not fully understanding how they arrive at that number. I did some more reading last night. There's science involved. So 4,970 pounds, a heck of a lot closer, but overall, not too bad. What does that put us overloaded by? 346 pounds, is that right? It's probably close enough. We're overloaded by about 350 pounds. I can tell you that tandem axle trailer is, it may handle a load capacity like that, but if you towed its max weight around all the time, I think the life of the trailer would go from this to this. It was hard on equipment. I even stopped along the trek at someone's house and put a little more air in the tires, because better to, how does that go? Better to err on the side of caution than run into disappointment. I think I just made that up. Anyways, let me know how close you got. I had a lot of fun doing this. As for this device, again, I bought this straight off Amazon with my own money. I'm not even gonna say too much about it. If you look, it's orange. I'm gonna just tell you it's orange. It came with this and a hook. Advertised to lift up to 500 kilograms. It did good right up until the 10th log, and then it has had some sort of internal circuitry board malfunction. I did verify several times that it was weighing correctly. It was weighing correctly, but it kept putting the hold button on by itself. You get halfway through a lift and you hear this beep, and the hold would come on. Well, we all know what hold means. It means hold the line. So on a 500-pound log, if it had only gotten up to 200 pounds, it would hold there, and you had to keep pushing the button to get it going. So a little bit of hair pulling on the last 5 or 6 logs here, but we got it done, and this is going in a box, return to sender. I think I'll let them send me a replacement. I'm a glutton for punishment. Why not try twice? I had a lot of fun on this video. Is it necessary to weigh the logs? No, it's not, and that's part of what made it fun. I hope it was entertaining. I don't always know what the next adventure is going to be. I just know there's going to be one. I appreciate you guys watching the video, leaving comments, and clicking all the buttons that you can, including telling your buddies to subscribe. We'll catch you on another video.